Hi there, welcome back to the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad to be back. I was not prepared enough to give you a good piece last week. I'm working on something a bit more long form that requires a bit more research and investigation, and a lot of armchair psychology. iTunes won't happen this week, but I've purchased all the proper online space in order to get it on there. It's coming, it just wasn't able to happen on my time frame. But it's okay because I'm having a lot of fun and I've got a good cast coming up for you. So with that, sit back and enjoy the Ginescast number 31, The Search for the Smoking Gun. News is like an endless cycle of trying to figure it out. It's a very bizarre industry for me to be in because I'm constantly in a state of trying to figure out what's going on in my own damn mind. It's exhausting sometimes, but that's not exactly what we're here to talk about. It seems like week after week, on Twitter we're hearing how close we are to ending the Trump presidency. Things keep happening in regards to the Mueller probe. People are getting arrested and sentenced, charged, tried over and over again. We're told by all those talking heads that this is it. Trump's well on his way out. He is finished. The issue is, the more you say things like that and see zero results in the process, the more you're going to see these snarky pushback commentaries from online cringe-servatives who yell about how Orange Man is so bad, Trump is finish, or whatever, I don't know. I'm sorry to go off on a political tangent here. I just get exhausted hearing over and over again about the smoking gun that will either end the Mueller probe or end Trump himself. Or maybe I should have said the smocking gun instead, because I'm so damn funny for making fun of the president's tweets, and we'll get a late night talk show starting next week. Does anyone think about what happens if we actually do find something? Like the thing that everyone is looking for, we find it? Well, then what? My hope is that people will face the correct and just repercussions that they are facing. But what if it's all for naught? What if we never get to see the finale? It's like what's in the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. The audience never sees it, but whatever's inside there, it has the power to bring people to tears, leaving the rest of us endlessly wondering what it could be. The smoking gun remains hidden away, never brought to light because we can't fully define it. Because maybe there just isn't one thing that's going to happen to make everything all better and unbruise your fragile egos or something you have no control over. I'm speaking generally, of course. And a lot of this is directed at those Twitter people who think that one document, one interview, one soundbite is going to be the thing that will topple the Trump regime. That kind of black and white thinking, I believe, always ends in disappointment. Because, number one, the investigations occurring will probably not unearth anything like that, and I will eat my words should they do that. And two, you're only getting as much information as they're willing to share. You don't know the full story. No one does. So what makes you so sure that someone else, Michael Avenatti, has all the answers? I've been living in this news world for the better part of a decade, the endless world of speculation and discovery. In this news world, people do two simple things. They report what's going on, and then they give opinions about it. That's basically it. It was something that was described to me the other day about business news and investors and the markets and Wall Street, is that they're all just kind of making it up as they go along, and when I found that out, things got a hell of a lot easier for me. That's just how this world works, I guess. So forgive me if I don't share in a delusion that one day, suddenly, it's all going to make sense. Except that I do. Of course I do. My life is all about waiting for that moment when things click and fall into line. I'm putting together a large and beautiful puzzle that only has a few of the end pieces locked in place. It branches out into all sorts of different directions, revealing a picture that sometimes looks blurry and frightening. But it's okay because eventually, as I gather more pieces, it seems to make more and more sense. I go through periods of distracting myself from what's really on my mind, and it's usually things that aren't the best for my spirit. So, like many of you know, I spend a lot of time delving into the quote-unquote internet lolcow phenomenon. It's either that or another sandbox video game where I have to do quests for people and make everyone like me. I'll admit that the lolcowdom these days is getting less and less for me, mostly because I'm just finding it sad. You're kind of watching people deteriorating in real time. You see where the wheels are falling off the cart without even them knowing it. You've discovered their smoking guns, the things that they need to do in order for them to pull themselves out of the quagmire they've essentially laid out for themselves by acting like a total narc megadouche online. But I continue to watch these internet lolcows on the hope that one day I get to see them get it. I get to see what fires off in their minds so they can eventually turn their lives around themselves, and they won't stay the sideshow attraction in the never-ending internet carnival. That is my biggest prayer. I want people so badly to get it. And I only wish for good things to happen. I really don't have it in me to wish bad things on people, even if those who have wished bad on me. And we all know that that probably amounts to a bunch of angry teenagers like a decade ago online, so I guess I'm not really mad about that anymore. The thing is, the more we go actively looking for something, the less likely it's going to turn up when we want it to. We can hope and wish and pray for things to manifest, but nothing's going to simply happen on its own. If you really believe in the law of attraction, or at least know what that's about, and I'm not saying I do, I just think that you get what you put out. So it really shouldn't be surprising that if you're putting out constant bitchiness, you're going to get it back tenfold. I'm fine with those who, I guess, want to seek their quote-unquote vengeance when you've been wronged. I mean really, really wronged. But sometimes we forget that doesn't have to necessarily mean wishing ill on the person who did you wrong. To go looking for problems with them so you can make them the bad guy. And sometimes the way to quote-unquote get back at another person for doing you dirty is to live your best life. And stop worrying about the thing that's going to get the other person in trouble. We're in a very weird time where we have the tendency to take everything personally, even when it's patently impersonal. We band together to find that one piece of evidence that will make everything all right again. Make America, America again. But do we forget that when one door closes, usually another one opens right behind it? When one problem is resolved, another one usually follows? It's really a never-ending race, this life is. And there's always going to be hurdles in our way, threatening us and telling us we can't jump over them. You can't do it. You're not good enough to do it. But then once you do, it seems like the most effortless thing in the entire world. And you'll wonder what you were so scared about. I'm always going to think it's okay to speculate about things. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. Because sometimes it can be a lot of fun. Or exhausting if you're in a newsroom. But we've got to make sure that we're not necessarily circling a drain or looking down the barrel of a gun as we're doing it. I'm not really here to try to sell you a bunch of, positivity and generic phrases with a light, airy font in front of a photo of a meadow or some other bullshit basic bitches post on Instagram when they're feeling down. I'm just trying to give you a less black and white way of looking at things. Embracing the gray doesn't mean things have to take a turn for the dark. Smoke clears when the trail goes cold again. And then something else is going to fire off. maybe there's not one simple thing that'll make us feel whole again. Maybe there's thousands of things. And maybe, in the end, that's what makes it all worth it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm very glad to be back. I'm sorry that I took a little break, but I guess I needed it in that moment, and here we are back, and we're going to keep on going and doing some fun things, and I'm excited for you to hear other things I have to do and say, I guess. Like I said, I did purchase some online space in order to put this on iTunes. I know that I've had a couple people asking me to place this on iTunes, which is what I want to do. I just am kind of dumb, and if someone can, if someone has the ability to kind of walk me through it, that would be even better. But I'm going to really work hard to do that and get that up for you next week. So that's the plan. Sorry to tell you my plans, but that's the plan of attack. The Ginescast comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like this podcast, please give it a like, please leave your comment below, and share it with someone that you think would like it. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HelloGines, or shoot me an email at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina Annunziato, and I'll see you next time. Take care.